Welcome to the Balkans 2017 tour, which takes in France, Germany, Slovenia, Italy, partially, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Croatia, and we cover passes like the Grossglockner, Timmeljok, the Brenner Pass, and all passes in between. Some of the Slovenian passes are a little bit special. The trip itself is mixed roads, motorways, because obviously you have to do a bit of motorway to get down into southern Europe. But the roads are suitable for any rider, any style of rider. We had big cruiser bikes, we had sporty-ish bikes, mostly a lot of adventure type bikes and pillions as well.
So the Croatia and Balkans trip 2017, another superb choice on the calendar. 20 happy bikers all setting off on day one for a new adventure and a new challenge. We cross through northern France on this trip, head over to Baden-Baden, and then we ride the famous B500 up through the Black Forest. We cross down through bits of southern Germany, going down to Oberammergau, and then we do a couple of little alpine passes down through northern Italy into Slovenia. We stay at the Plitvice National Park, which is awesome. Have a day off there to go and explore the waterfalls and a little walking tour and bits and pieces. And then we cross down into Bosnia. Not normally on people's radar for motorcycle trips. It's the sort of place that people just think of sort of newsreel footage from the 90s. And while there is an awful lot of history there, which we explore on another one of the walking tours, which is also great and really informative, it's actually a beautiful country and the roads are great. You will often be jostling for position with grannies riding horses, pulling little wooden tractors, so even I can keep up with them and overtake them. But it's a really, really cool place to ride. The scenery is great, the road quality is really, really good. Even with the sort of grannies on horseback, the traffic is actually minimal. Really, really good food. It's a really interesting place to add to people's sort of tick box list of places that they've been on their bike. Being able to say that you've ridden to Sarajevo and back under your own steam, quite a cool thing to say, quite a cool thing to do. And yeah, the people on this trip really, really enjoyed that. We had a fantastic time in Sarajevo itself, or the group had a fantastic time in Sarajevo itself. And then they crossed down into Croatia again, which they had sort of tucked into at the beginning. They crossed down into Croatia again to Dubrovnik, sort of the scene for Game of Thrones and various other famous films. Lots of history there, lots of culture, lots of nice seafood, lots of nice views. They go past Mostar and the famous bridge on the way through down to that, and then they'll ride back up the Dalmatian coast, which is just hours and hours and hours of brilliant twisty bends on, billiard table smooth tarmac, views out over the hundreds of little islands. Another superb bit of road. Again, not a particularly famous one, so hopefully not too many people will watch this video and see that there's somewhere that they want to go and ride, because year on year it always amazes me at how few people are on there and how few bikes. So that's a bit of a treat for everybody doing that on the way back up, and guaranteed sunshine as well in the times of year that we run the trip.
Now it's turned into an obstacle course. Oi! Oi! So John and Natalie, what do you think of this lot then?
Where did you come from?
It's my job.
It's beautiful, beautiful. It's 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 beau
You reckon it was worth having a day here?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you don't want to miss it.
Everybody, have we all had a nice time today? How about a little wave? Little wave? Good. I am, yeah. Yeah.
Terrible.
But I'm organising your room. Okay, so what we're looking at here then is the group just leaving the hotel, following Nino, which I got his name wrong, thought he was called Nico, and we're starting our Sarajevo tour. How cool's that? Walking down the street, apparently somewhere quieter. There's Mr. Pete waving, or is that a chicken on his head?
Fully assembled to go on the back of your bike.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, something appreciated. Get home in one bit.
You are standing here, and a car stopped here in the street, like an open car.
Whistling demonstration downstairs was something to do with multiculturalism, and they were against nationalism, I believe. But here we are now at the top of a hotel, 9 floors up, and we're going to get a panoramic view. I shall walk all the way around so you can see Sarajevo. The hills we're looking at now are the closest hills to the city where most of the shelling came from during the war. And Nino has just done our brilliant guided tour, which lasted about 2.5, nearly 3 hours. Well worth doing though. Explained how it all worked and where he lived. He lived in a bunker from the age of 7 for 4 years with all the families from the block of flats he lived in. So it's only when you see it like this, brings it all quite home to you. You see it on the news but don't actually realise what it's all about.
A ono od cilja prema Pionirskoj dolini.
Pogledaj ono žirafu. Ramantaju se patičnice. Napio patičnice.
So there we are. That's a full 360 of Sarajevo city. What a pretty amazing place actually. A place that most people only ever see from news reels, which is pretty horrible. But it is a really thriving, busy city. And tomorrow we're off to Dubrovnik. Hey, I'm on a Magellan tour and we're in Dubrovnik. How's it going, chaps?
Wonderful.
Dave, how's your trip so far?
Absolutely well.
Really? Can you put your best telephone voice on for me?
Telephone voice.
Oh, right, okay.
You're going to have to give me some warning if you're going to...
No. Are you, Linda, all right?
Fine, thank you.
There's my famous Croatian translator, Mike. Good day. And trying to hide at the back there so Dad can't see her. It's
Natalie.
Natalie and Dan. Say wave, please. Can you smile, please, not grimace, Dan? That's terrible. So we're on the wall around Dubrovnik. A load of people have just gone upstairs, up to this little area up here. And if you look over where the camera's pointing now, obviously you're going to look in that direction, that's where I'm pointing you. The castle there is part of Game of Thrones, apparently. Those of you mad Game of Thrones people. And the cable cart's going up behind. You can go right up to the top to the... there's a building, a cafe at the top, and that's apparently where they filmed Where Eagles Dare. I'm just walking across the path now. Loads of cafes and restaurants. Enjoying it? It's a bit high though, isn't it, eh?
You know,
You'd think they make these steps a bit slower.
Chris keeps
bit
calling
lower.
him Dave. I have to call him Trigger. Trig.
Making my legs go by the time we go.
So it's Rodney. 14.
So Mike, my Croatian translator here, is now pointing at something.
Hey, catamaran.
And then we go up from the Dalmatian coast, we cross up back into Slovenia briefly, stay up in the mountains in a really nice little lodge, and then we go down into Austria before riding the Timmeljok or the Brenner Pass in reverse and back up over the Alps into southern Germany, and we make our way back through southern Germany over into the Vosges in France, and then across over to the Channel Tunnel to make our way back home. A really fun trip, this one. It's a longer mileage one than some of the other tours, but we allow for that in the length of the trip. It's sort of 14, 15 days long, so again, as with all the Magellan tours, you're down to sort of 5 or 6 hours riding each day. You have your 3 stops planned in. Most comprehensive tour back in the business, we always sort of harp on about. It does have all the information you could possibly need, and as I'm regularly told, probably a little bit that you didn't need. But all your stops are pre-programmed in, so you have coffee, lunch, coffee, plenty of time to stop, admire the view, take photos and hang around with the rest of the group. And you can also go and ride your own ride. You can leave early if you want, or you can go off and just ride with 2 or 3 of you, or you can ride with a guide. The flexibility that you get on all of these tours is I think, one of the many reasons that people come sort of time and time again. The highlights of the tour itself, the tour around Sarajevo with a young local chap that we use every year is absolutely brilliant. We've had a couple of people say that it was life-changing, and it is something that people should experience when they go there, having the history told to them through the eyes of someone that lived through it. This chap's only in his sort of late 20s, and his parents were heavily involved in the conflict. He remembers all the things that we sort of sat there and watched on television, and having him explain it as a local is really interesting and really eye-opening, and quite harrowing at times, but very interesting as well. Another highlight of the trip would be the day off that everyone has in Dubrovnik to go and explore, and then the day off that they have over at Plitvice National Park. We also go and visit the castle at Pretjama, which is great, and the caves underneath there, and then obviously the riding as well. It's, as with all the tours, we do mix in some interesting cultural sites and various sort of activities, but it is about the riding principally, and the roads on the way down and on the way back up are absolutely brilliant. The coast road on the Dalmatian coast is phenomenal. The passes up over through Italy and Austria, the Timmeljok and the Brenner, are famous and in the top 10 passes to do in the world for a reason. There is a reason that Clarkson and Go harp on about them. And there's also a reason that there's an awful lot of cyclists up there that you have to fight through as they're chugging their way up, and you thank your lucky stars you're on a motorbike and not on a bicycle. But those roads, the famous ones, are very, very good. But then the little ones that we find getting from A to B, some of the great undulating countryside that we ride through in southern Germany is really, really nice. And we've got some quite quiet and off the beaten track routes in the Vosges Mountains on the way back home, which is a nice little treat for everybody on one of the finer days.
We're now in Mostar. I'm walking behind Miss Helena, Mr. Peter, who's got his chicken on his head again, Terry, and Mr. Dave. So here we are wandering through, just about to go and have a look at the very famous bridge. And it's absolutely jam-packed with tourists, as you would imagine. Okay then, Magellanites, here we are. We're at Mark's place. Here's the fire. That's the fire. There we go.
The ferry was great as well.
I reckon, Captain Chris, that you took the best road out of everyone today. Seriously. No, yeah, but it's a really nice road. So we're looking forward to the food.
Patrick O'Malley. Next question.
Oh, I would say, actually, the tour around Sarajevo. Very informative.
So, Snorri, have you enjoyed this tour?
I have indeed, yes. I should be going on another one.
Really? What have you enjoyed the most about it?
The evenings have been really good, but I've enjoyed the nice weather in the last few days.
All right. What's been your best bit?
Best bit, the parks yesterday.
Timislav.
Brilliant. Long day, very tiring, but brilliant day.
Good. Anything else you've enjoyed about it?
I've enjoyed meeting all the guys. I'm thinking of doing Norway next year, actually.
Oh, brilliant.
And I've been before, but I haven't been to Sweden or...
Initially, see, I was thinking this is a bit hardcore for me, a little bit too, you know, I'm a bit out of place, I'm floundering a bit, do you follow? But as I say, with your help, I feel I've gained a bit of confidence.
So what made you choose Magellan then?
It just sounded like a good organisation altogether. I then called you up, called the office up. And Kim, I had a word with Kim, and then also spoke with David about a week or so later for some other little questions. And just generally very helpful, and I just got a good feeling about it.
Superb riding. Once the weather cleared up, everything I expected. Superb. And today, actually, was wonderful. German roads. Superb.
Cool. How was that? How was the tour for you?
Great. My favourite part was the windy road, if it hadn't had the wind.
The Dalmatian coast.
Yeah, the Dalmatian coast. Yeah.